Minister, how do you feel, as a minister in Israel, how do you feel about the Labour government's, how they've dealt with the extremism and the support for Hamas in Britain?
The weakest government since Chamberlain, and maybe even worse, despite the fact that the Chamberlain's delusional vision of the reality, peace in our time. Maybe Chamberlain is worse than Keir Starmer, but it is the same mechanism of thinking that you can appease the monster and maybe buy some time and buy some quiet. And this strategy is driven by the same fear that the terrorist wants to put in your hearts. The Nazis were terrorists themselves, and they terrorized entire Europe, who were afraid to fight. And luckily we had Winston Churchill, who stood almost alone to fight against the Nazis. And we salute Churchill, and we admire Churchill here in Israel. And I personally admire Churchill. He's one of the greatest leaders in all times. And what we are seeing here is quite the same. I think that the strategy of Keir Starmer is driven by fear. He is afraid. He is afraid of the Islamists in Britain. He is afraid from states like maybe Turkey or Qatar. And I think that it is very important to understand this is not about Hamas and Israel. This is about the Muslim Brotherhood, which is a huge global movement, a movement that started after World War I, led by Hassan al-Banna, with a vision to have a huge caliphate led by the Islam, to renew the days of Muhammad, to conquer not just all of the Middle East, okay, not just Israel, but also to conquer Andalus in Spain, obviously, and also to conquer Britain and to have the Sharia law implemented all across Europe. It was Sheikh Qaradawi as the most important leader. I think every citizen in Britain must understand what is the Muslim Brotherhood. Who is Sheikh Yusuf Qaradawi? What's the role of Qatar? Okay, what's the role of Turkey, of Erdogan in the game, in all this chess? Because this is a global war against a super radical and super sophisticated ideology that its end goal is to make sure Islam is dominant and people are submitted to Sharia law, losing their liberties, losing their way of life. This is a very, very big fight against political Islam, radical Islam, and I think that unfortunately people, they don't read, they don't know who is Hassan al-Banna, they don't know who is Said Qutb, they don't know who is Sheikh Yusuf al-Qaradawi. I'm not sure that even Keir Starmer knows who these people are and what is the ideology. And Hamas is part of this movement. It's not a local movement. Hamas is a part of a global movement. Same movement of Ahmad Ashara, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Qatar, Erdogan's party, etc.
Well, the Muslim Brotherhood are prescribed in many Arab nations. They're prescribed as a terrorist group.
In the UAE,
in the UAE, they're a terrorist organisation. The Muslim Brotherhood don't hide their goals for a world caliphate. They're quite open about their intentions for America, for Britain. Why do you think, when you have a terrorist organisation like that, that's very open about their end objectives and their goals, which is Islamic supremacy and the overthrow of democratic rule, when they're so open about it, why do you think a government like Great Britain's fail to acknowledge, address, or even tackle this group?
They want to prevent the fight. They want to buy time.
Who wants to buy time?
The governments. And I think, when we need to be very honest here, Israel did the same mistake.
I was just about to say
the same mistake.
If you look at Israel's history, Israel tried to appease for many years.
It's true. It's true.
But you now have a government who understands you can't appease.
Absolutely. That is the lesson of October 7th. You cannot prevent the fight against this radical ideology.
Do you think Britain will have to experience its own October 7th before maybe our governments wake up to realise that these terror organisations must be stopped?
I hope not. I hope not. I very hope, Mamash. I really hope you shouldn't. But in order to make sure it will never happen, you need a whole other set of tools to address this challenge, and you need to be far, far more decisive, far, far more aggressive, and to understand that it most likely it won't go smooth and it won't go quietly. But if you won't do it, I'm not sure there's going to be Britain.
Do you feel betrayed by Britain?
Not really. I think it's coming from weakness and not from a point of betrayal.
I hope you understand that Keir Starmer's government don't represent the majority of the British public.
Yeah, I understand it very well. I see the polls. I'm very happy with the polls, actually, and I'm very happy with your work. And I see it also as a conservative leaders. I think it's very important for conservative leaders worldwide. If it's Vox in Spain, if it's Bardella in France, if it's Reform UK or movement, ground movement of streets with millions of people out there who supports your leadership, that is, I think, something which is super, super important to work together and because we are in the same battle.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. Thank you very much.
In a highly charged and headline-grabbing interview with British activist Tommy Robinson, Israel's Minister for Diaspora Affairs, Amichai Chikli, launched a scathing critique of the UK's Labour government under Keir Starmer, accusing it of cowardice in the face of growing Islamist extremism. The fiery exchange, raw, unfiltered, and laden with political tension, offered a bleak assessment of Western Europe's security posture amid the spread of Muslim Brotherhood influence and its international networks. Speaking with urgency and conviction, Minister Chikli warned that the Brotherhood's ultimate ambition is the creation of a global caliphate, one that would see Sharia law override national sovereignty across Europe and beyond. When pressed by Robinson on Britain's current direction, Chikli drew chilling parallels with the prelude to the First World War, warning that fear-driven politics and the unwillingness to challenge or even name Islamist ideology are allowing extremism to thrive unchecked. Keir Starmer's government operates out of fear, he said. Fear of being called racist. Fear of losing votes. Fear of standing for principle. That is not leadership, Chikli declared emphatically. That is appeasement. The fact that such criticism came during a Tommy Robinson interview only intensified the moment's controversy. Robinson, well known for his combative stance on Islamic extremism, has long argued that the British political mainstream refuses to confront these issues with honesty or courage. Chikli's remarks functioned not merely as domestic criticism, but as a strategic message to Western allies. With tensions escalating across the Middle East and Europe wrestling with internal divisions over immigration, cultural identity, and radicalization, Israel is increasingly cautioning that ideological softness in the West could invite grave security repercussions. The Chikli-Robinson exchange is more than viral political theater. It encapsulates a wider ideological